is Kristen Machado. I'm the Vice President of the Culinary Club, and I'm here interviewing Chef Nathan Lyon. He's an Emmy-nominated chef, and he's known for his fresh ingredients and for his simple, innovative cuisine. Thank you so much for being here.
It's really a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Why did you decide to become a chef?
Why did I decide?
Yes.
You know, since I was really young, I've always understood just the power of food. I mean, I'm the youngest of three boys. I'm from here in Arlington, Virginia. And I noticed from a very young age that if I was cooking or helping in the kitchen, my brothers wouldn't pick on me. So part of it was survival, but part of it was like a certain respect that I gained from my brothers and that later on became with my friends. And I just thought, you know, being a chef is a very cool thing, but it didn't start out that way. It started out with a health science degree from James Madison. And then I was an artist along the way. I was a medical technician. And I was just sort of all over the place, but I always kept coming back to being a chef. So yeah, when I was in my low 30s, I finally pulled the trigger and went to Le Cordon Bleu. So then I'm researching a recipe online, and on the right-hand side, it says, who wants to be the next Food Network star? And I was like, me. I want to teach people how to cook, you know? Because when you cook, you always have friends. You save money. You're going to cook better than most restaurants you go to. And people want to come to your place and hang out. It's a great decision what you guys have done. Always have a job. Wherever you go, you can travel the world, you know? And you have to be really passionate about this job. It is not an easy job. I did sculpture, painting, drawing. I would take classes at the Torpedo Factory, the Corcoran in DC, and even at James Madison, I started out as a stained glass artist. Did photography. I did my own photography for my cookbook. Yeah, and art, and the thing is, what's really cool is that this is just art that you happen to eat. It's culinary arts. It stays in the art field, so I'm super happy about that. You know, being a chef has to do with patience. That's probably number one. You also have to be a certain type where you're almost a perfectionist. Nothing can slide by because the food that I prepare for my friends and family and also on television, it has to look really good. It has to make people want to make it. And that's essentially what I want to do. And also being a chef is being a teacher. And with being a teacher, you have to be patient. And it's just the understanding that people can change and morph and they want to do good and you empower them with knowledge. And I think, you know, that whole knowledge is power thing that you learn as a small child is absolutely true. So as a chef, I think that's pretty much, that's it. Knowledge, power, and patience.
When did you decide to become an entrepreneur?
You know, I worked at farmers markets for 10 years in the morning, and then I would go straight to being a chef. So I was working 90 hours a week, and I thought, well, working for other people is great because I'm learning a lot. But it's not sustainable. I can't do 90 hours a week for my whole life. So then I decided to start cooking on television and then taking things in my own hands by going from Food Network and Discovery into being on PBS. And PBS is all about public education. It's public knowledge, public supported, and that's where I really shine. You know, being an entrepreneur is great because you have the flexibility and the freedom to do what you want within your own confines. You may not get a steady paycheck, but you can be happy doing what you love.
Being happy is the most important thing.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, it is.
While you were in culinary school, what was your favorite part of the education?
You know, in culinary school, I would say the best part was actually the people that I met. When you meet people that you click with that are sort of fighting the same fight, being a chef in this field is not an easy job. It's harder than being a medical technician. It's very strenuous on the body. And I think sort of moving through semesters and moving through the years in culinary school and meeting friends that I still have today and that are still in the field, and then knowing that they have my back and I have their back, so you really develop some long-lasting friendships. So that's probably the best part about culinary school.
How has reality TV changed your life?
Well, it's made it so I don't have to work 90 hours a week.
Oh, that is lovely.
Yeah, it makes it so I can have a relationship. That's always good. Yeah, reality TV changed it because I was getting burned out, as this industry does, because you work really long hours, and it changed me in the way that it wasn't until I was on Food Network that I realized that I am a teacher. I never knew that I was a teacher. Other people told me that, but pardon me, you have to discover it on your own. And that's when, like a good therapist will tell you a certain thing, and then a light goes on. And reality TV did that for me. And ever since Food Network, I've been doing reality television and teaching people how to cook ever since. It's very fulfilling.
Would you still like to participate in competitions, like professionally?
Absolutely not.
No?
No.
Why is that?
Competitions are very stressful.
Oh, yes, they are.
Competitions, the thing about reality television is it's not exactly reality, because reality television is all about filming as much stuff as possible. Like there are 4 cameras here. And if you do 4 cameras over 2 weeks period of time, that is a lot of information, and they edit to make a story. I don't want to be a part of anyone else's story, because the reality is I am who I am and I teach the way that I do. And reality television has gone from people that I used to watch on television growing up, they were all about education, to now it's about trying to fabricate something with a spork, or this is on fire and you have to jump through a hoop, and that's not cooking.
Right.
It's entertainment. So reality television has gone from education to entertainment, and I find myself, pardon me, entertaining, because it has to be entertaining, but at the end of the day, I really want people to be able to feed themselves, because most of us can't feed ourselves. We need to be able to feed ourselves. You know, it's cheaper, it's healthier. You know, if you make an apple pie at home, it's going to be more delicious and healthier than any apple pie you get in the grocery store. So it's very empowering that you can cook some stuff, at least 5 dishes, very, very well. Yeah, and that's what I think I'm here for, is to teach people how to cook. Everything that grows in the same season works together in a dish. Apples, fennel, these are all fall produce, okay? It all works together. This works together. It just does. You have the acidity and the sweetness. You have the sweetness like an anise flavor. Apples, fennel. Let's make an apple fennel salad. I'm going to dress it nice and high, or rather plate it nice and high, because as you know, it's got to look good on the plate, right?
So the Art Institute,
Yeah.
what advice would you give them, especially to the culinary students?
Part of your homework is to go out and eat. If you were to eat McDonald's every day, you will learn 0. Because McDonald's will always be the same. That's why they're the most successful restaurant in the world. If you go to Beijing, you go to Russia, you go anywhere you go in the world, a Big Mac will always taste like a Big Mac. That's consistency, and that's what's really important. In the culinary world, everything needs to look the same. When you cook the same stuff, you cease to grow as an artist. And as a culinary artist, it's your job to go out and do research, and the only way to do research is step outside of yourself. It's not, my food is my food, and I designed it, but I didn't design it for me. I designed it for other people to enjoy. Every ingredient you can find in a grocery store. I'm not going to use molecular gastronomy on television because people at home don't have that equipment. People do know what salmon is, and they know what fennel is, and an apple and some cheese, and you can make something really beautiful and extravagant. So the best advice is to go out and continue your education by developing your palate. You need to eat food. It doesn't have to be fancy, mostly not fancy. Street food is amazing, just a regular hole-in-the-wall joint, and then before you leave, ask them how they did that. You'd be surprised how many places will say, oh, I just used that secret thing at the Lebanese Taverna, which is one of my favorite places here. Ethiopian food, you have great ethnic food. Go out and try stuff you've never tried before. It will make you a better chef. Do not be comfortable, ever. If you're watching television, stop watching television. Because now you should be reading. You should be trying your knife skills. You always have an opportunity to better yourself. And so I barely watch TV. And when I eat something, I eat it and I love it. And if I get bored with it, because it's boring, like I said today in today's demo, tomato and red sauce, it's boring. It's the most boring dish ever. 3 bites in, I've discovered nothing. So surprise me. Give your customers an element of surprise. Don't be weird, but give them an element of surprise. Do a different texture, do a different technique. Try something different. Because if you know your food, you're not learning anymore. You need to not know something and then strive to attain that and have be a part of you as a chef. Okay? Always grow.
The trend nowadays is healthy choices,
Yep.
healthy living.
Yep.
So what advice would you give people if someone's looking for a healthy life choice?
Okay, so healthy life choices are pretty easy. If you see a commercial, like a television commercial, or you see a commercial, an advertisement in a magazine for something, for food, don't eat it.
Why not?
Don't eat it. It's not healthy. It's processed. So if you're going to the farmer's market, farmers don't have any money to advertise, but McDonald's does, Double Whopper, whatever, Coca-Cola does. All those things are processed. If it has a label on it, it's not healthy. But here we go, like this. Where's the label?
Nowhere to be found.
Where's the label? What's the label? It's an apple. It's an apple. That's healthy. Okay? Whole foods are always going to be healthier. Always. That's an orange. That's cheese. Processed cheese, Velveeta, there's a lot of ingredients on that. That's just Parmesan. What's the ingredient? Parmesan. Okay? So if you want to eat healthier, eat real foods. So when you go into the grocery store, you stay in the perimeter. It's called perimeter shopping. I learned this at Nutrition 101 at James Madison University. So when you walk in the grocery store, you only stay on the perimeter, the outskirts of the grocery store, because that's where all the whole foods are. So if you're walking with me, you go in, you're like, oh, fruits and vegetables. There's seafood, there's meat, there's dairy, there's breads, there's grains. You're done. What's the stuff in the middle? It's all the canned stuff that you add water and these things. That's not as healthy. It's a really simple thing. And once you have that knowledge and you walk into a grocery store and you see it with new eyes, then you're like, oh, this is easy. It's easy. It just takes more time.
Yeah.
I mean, convenience comes at a cost. It's usually the health of Americans. Convenience, it comes at a cost. But one more thing, really quick. If we all went to a fast food joint at 5 o'clock in the afternoon and we counted the cars that were in the drive-thru, there's like 20 cars. And you count the last car, and by the time that car drives through the drive-thru, gets their food, it's about 18 minutes. 18 minutes, I can make salmon, a salad, pasta, anything you want. So really think about how you spend your time too, okay?
Lastly, traveling to different countries, what have you learned about food? Has that expanded your horizons?
Yes, you learn everything about food. And it goes back to what I say about don't be bored with what you create. If I fully understand how to make that salad, I can have that salad in my Rolodex, but I want to learn how to make a different salad. What type of salad were they serving at that street vendor in Vietnam? I want to learn about those ingredients. Because you can get them here at different markets. I mean, not at Whole Foods or at Giant, but there are Asian markets that they have here, and they're fascinating. It's like Disneyland for chefs, and it's free. You don't have to buy anything, but you go around and just rub things and smell things, and if you don't know what they are, ask about them. And go out to international cuisines, ethnic foods as much as possible. I mean, the world is really your oyster. It just depends how much time you spend doing something. So if you're at home watching Celebrity Housewives of who cares, and you're spending 3 hours a week watching bleh, you should be spending 3 hours a week trying something. It doesn't have to be expensive. Just try something new. You know, this is all the time I have. I could be dead tomorrow. But I know if I die tomorrow, I'd be like, yeah, I made some good salads. I cooked some really good fish. You know, I made a lot of people happy. So even though I'm on television, it's a little bit hypocritical, but I don't watch a lot of TV because when you watch television, you're watching someone else live their life to the fullest. So if I'm watching someone cook, I'm like, why am I watching them cook? I can cook. And then I turn the TV off and I cook. That's what life's all about. It's about experiences, guys. So if you've never been out of this country, get out of this country. You need to, I don't care where. It will give you a frame of reference to the rest of your life, and you realize how much we have, how abundant everything is. The different foods that we don't know. When I travel to another country, I know nothing. And I'm humbled by how little I know, because that gives me an opportunity to grow so much more. And when I come back to the States, I'm blowing people's minds. I know I am. I'm going to blow their minds. For chump change. Like, these are scraps, guys. I'm going to eat these later on, but they're all scraps, and I can make amazing dishes and charge you all $18.50 for it. They're scraps. That's not a filet mignon. You know, you need to use oxtail. You need to use things that cost nothing. I'm sure you've heard this before. Things that cost nothing and make magic from them. That's a true chef, is to take humble ingredients and make magic. Not the most expensive stuff and make whatever. Okay? It's all about learning.
Thank you very much.
Are we done?
Yes.
No, well, that was
Thank you.
fantastic.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you, and
You
thank
got
you for
it.
being with us.
Thanks, guys.